Who has adopted the Manny Pacquiao style. Hernan Marquez in the black, taking on the champion Nonito Donaire in the gold. Donaire came out in the first round. He told us that he would fight southpaw for the entire fight, and he did for that first round.
And you know, Marquez felt that he had to get on the inside to be effective. It was a very close first round, one that you could go either way on, and Marquez didn't get on the inside. But I don't know if he can win this fight from the outside as he's been fighting.
How confusing, Al, is it for a southpaw to fight a southpaw?
Well, it's very rare, obviously, and it doesn't happen that often. And that was also part of Donaire's reasoning in moving to that to fight Marquez. Now, there was a good, quick, straight left hand by Donaire.
Ooh,
and
another one. Now Marquez, he lands with a short right hook. Oh, another left hand by Donaire.
One would argue that if you're going to change to a lefty stance, you would do it against a righty that would even have more problems with it. But you know, he has his reasons, and so far the experiment is, 50-50.
Still early, second round scheduled for 12. For the WBA super flyweight interim world champion, Nonito Donaire in gold is the champion.
Now, for Marquez, he has changed trainers and gone with Rudy Perez, who is a terrific trainer who worked with Israel Vasquez in his great fights, three of the four fights against Rafael Marquez, and he also worked for years with Marco Antonio Barrera, and he feels that's going to help him. And Perez says that this young fighter looks a lot like Chiquita Gonzalez to him, a great Mexican champion of a decade or so ago, who was a terrific flyweight himself.
Marquez telling us that he's got to stay inside of Donaire. He can't stay outside because he knows that he has a serious reach disadvantage. And he also wants to move side to side. But do you think it's confused him with Donaire coming out fighting in this southpaw stance?
Yeah, I don't know if he's confused by it, but what has happened is Donaire, lefty or righty, is very good at keeping distance. And he's using his jab, as you see there, Donaire very effectively to keep that distance.
Donaire, born in the Philippines, raised in San Mateo, California, right outside of Oakland. And that's the end of the round. Now get a behind-the-scenes look at America's #1 spectator sport with Inside NASCAR. It's the best motorsports highlight show on television.
Great feature last week on Dale Earnhardt Jr. And his late father, two of the icons in that sport.
Okay. Set up your punches, okay? Don't let him grow. Don't let him get big, okay? Don't let him think he's got a chance. He ain't got a chance. All right? Breathe.
Pero dili ka pirmi, mujab ka, ha? Dili ka pirmi, mujab ka, okay?
Breathe. Deep. Okay? Don't let him grow, okay? Don't let him think he's got a chance. He's looking for the right hook, okay?
Hey, boss.
Very careful, okay? She got some toes, give me those laterals, all right? Give me those laterals, okay? Start working on those laterals, okay?
San Juan, Puerto Rico, we're ready for the third round. Nonito Donaire versus this man, Hernan Marquez. Marquez moving up in weight from 112. He weighed in at 115. Donaire, who says that he has had some problems maintaining 115, weighed in at 114 and a half. And very interesting, Donaire has decided to allow Victor Conti, who is a controversial, almost infamous figure, to serve as a guide for some of his nutrition.
Yeah, and you know, his wife Rachel, who we saw, who takes a very active role in his career, vetted him by talking to Andre Ward, who also uses him, and said they understood controversy would come with it. She said, I want to make it clear, every supplement we get, I buy from GNC myself. It is sealed, and we use him only for consultation when we see the blood work of Donaire and things of that nature.
All right, let's take a look at the power punches from round two.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, a slight edge for Donaire, but you know, there's not a lot of punches coming from these fighters.
Nonito Donaire really made a name for himself back in 2007 when he knocked out Vic Darchinyan with a left hook. And Boxing News reported that Vic was caught with the kind of left hook that was reminiscent of the perfect punch Sugar Ray Robinson used to KO Gene Fullmer 50 years ago.
Yeah, well, it was very similar to that punch. And that was a fight in which there's an uppercut from Donaire. And that's dangerous because he leaves himself open when he throws that punch. And of course, Donaire anxious to get a rematch with Darchinyan, and there was a lot of woofing back and forth this week. Donaire suggesting that Darchinyan was responsible for the negotiations between the two failing, and Darchinyan responding and saying it wasn't me. He and his camp responding. So both sides, obviously, as is often the case in boxing, feel that the other guy ruined the possibility of a fight. Maybe it'll happen in the future, or maybe Donaire will face Fernando Montiel in the future, assuming he gets past Marquez tonight.
Marquez going to the body. Ooh, nice straight left hand by Marquez. Tight defense by Donaire. Both fighters now starting to find a rhythm. Toe-to-toe, center of the ring. Left hand landing, followed by a nice stiff right jab for Donaire. Closing moments of the third round. Ooh, a left flush on the chin by Donaire. Now these guys are starting to mix it up nicely. So let's go back to 2007. Nonito Donaire versus the Raging Bull, Vic Darchinyan. And on this night, the Raging Bull was tamed by the man from San Mateo, California.
Darchinyan, 28-0, has never been dropped or hurt or even remotely threatened in the ring.
And Nonito Donaire fighting for his first world title. Nonito's older brother Glenn manhandled by Darchinyan last October.
The very interested spectator on hand to support his kid brother. This is the first time we've seen Vic Darchinyan in any kind of trouble.
Nonito Donaire is having his way with Vic Darchinyan. Oh,
Look out! Darchinyan down for the first time in terrible shape. It's all over. It's all over. Nonito Donaire has pulled off the monstrous upset.
Our partner Steve Albert with the call.
yeah, that was an exciting evening, and we have to remember Donaire was a huge underdog in that fight. Now, let me say something about the moment. I'm going to weigh in on this. Time to turn back to the right-handed stance and fight like Nonito Donaire, and I'm going to tell you why. Defensively, he is creating opportunities for Hernan Marquez, and Marquez is a good fighter, and he's taking advantage of those moments, and he is landing more punches against Donaire than I think Donaire should be allowing him to do. So it's a noble and interesting experiment, but I'm telling you it's hurting Donaire right now.
Ooh. Donaire's left hand, though, has been very effective as he counterpunches, and he's been looping it and throwing it straight down the pipe.
And he's landing that punch very well, but he's leaving himself in some spots open for punches.
Marquez doing well with his jab.
And you see there, even winning the battle of the jab. Now that is a direct product of Donaire being a lefty. If he was a righty, there's no way that would be happening. This has set up an interesting dynamic for this fight. And Marquez, for his part, who is a very workmanlike fighter, while he's
Beautiful uppercut with the left hand by Donaire.
yeah, he's taking those big shots, but he is hanging in there with some of the punches he's landing now. But Donaire's having a very good fourth round for himself. That's his rebuttal to my comments about turning back to writing.
But you're absolutely right, Al. As you mentioned earlier, quite often when fighters turn over to the other side, their defensive reflexes aren't as sharp.
It's just different. They're seeing things from a different angle. And also, he's lunging in a little bit more when he throws. And he's fighting short. See that left hand that got in by Marquez? It's because look how Donaire is leaning in. He doesn't fight short, and he shouldn't fight short. He should fight tall. And when he's righty, he fights tall.
Donaire keeping that right hand awfully low as well.
And while Marquez has taken a lot of big left hands in this round, he's closed the distance. There's a good counter left, though, by Donaire. He's finding the range with that punch. This has probably been the best round of the fight, ironically, for Donaire, even though he's still getting hit with some punches like that right hook.
Got to give him a lot of credit, Al. He is determined to stay on that side.
He really is. Yeah, you're right.
I wonder what Vic Darchinyan, Montiel think as they watch this fight, and you know they are right now.
Yeah, absolutely. They're probably bemused, I guess, in some ways. And they know darn well he's not going to fight them as a righty for the whole fight, or as a lefty for the whole fight.
One man Donaire wants to face is Vic Darchinyan. He told us that he's afraid of him now. Darchinyan ducking him and leaving a lot of money on the line because he doesn't want to fight.
Good round.